Hello my dear students, here is again your computer Wunsem, and today I am showing you one interesting subject to understand layers, the selection tools. Selection tools are the tools which make this strange line all around the picture here. As you can see, there is this big duck in the middle, and it is surrounded by a line just like the picture itself, which is moving. If I now delete this, you can see there isn't too much difference because I forgot to add the alpha channel. Now I add the alpha channel, and as you can see, some things are gone here. The selection tools are amazing because they automatically select what you in fact need. You can select the rubber duck, you can select the background, and you can select only parts of it. For instance, if I want to select the beak here, I can click on it, but you can see that there are some of these points here, which means that not everything of this is selected. And this means that some parts can't be selected like this. However, therefore, we have the possibility to use the threshold. By increasing the threshold, we can choose more. And in this case, we can choose even the whole beak by increasing the threshold. If we reduce the threshold, it's the same way. We can select the part of the rubber ducky which we're needing, or we can only select parts of the background in our case. And now the threshold tool is very necessary just to make sure that you are selecting the correct part what we need for any picture we are using. The threshold part is necessary to select specifically only a single part which we need, so we can make sure that we have everything of this threshold, but not anything else. Now in our case, let's use this selection now. I press the right mouse button, copy, and file, create from clipboard. This means the thing that we have copied will now be a new picture. And as you can see, we only got the silhouette of the duck, which is technically wrong. I will close this again, discard changes, and now what we need to do is select the duck. However, if we select the duck like this, we can't select it correctly. But what we can do is select the background, right mouse button, select and invert. Invert means that the picture selection will be turned around, and everything which is selected will now be not selected, and everything which is not selected is now selected. So therefore, let's see what happens. Edit, copy, or Control C, and then file, create from clipboard, or let's press Shift, Control and V. And as you can see, there is this beautiful rubber duck. Now, beautiful, but a little bit imperfect. Let's say it like this. As you can see here below, there is this little bit of disgusting residue of the white background. The reason for this is it contains a shadow, and we couldn't select anything about it. We could select the threshold to increase it so the shadow will be taken, but usually it doesn't work like this. We need to do something else for this. We can in fact delete it by using the eraser here and just cut it off. You can be very precise so you can make it look good, but here in this case it's a little bit strange. I undo it again, and now what we need is a new tool, namely the so-called free select tool. The free select tool has the capability of selecting only the things we are needing by technically drawing a line. Therefore, let's zoom in so that the whole white plane is here, and then we need to be very precise just to select the part we are needing now. When we are done, we can just double click, and as you can see, only this thing is selected. However, there is some sort of a problem here. As you can see, something of the yellow of the rubber duck has also been selected, also like something in the gray part. This selection wasn't perfect, which is unfortunate because the free select tool is in fact very good to select multiple parts together, but we need something else for this. So how can we only select this thing without destroying the rest of the selection is the big question we have to answer. Therefore, we have two possibilities: either select the fuzzy select tool again, or just use it by the free select tool. And what we need to do is in fact selecting the special properties of the free select tool. There are 4 of them. Replace the current selection. If I do this, one moment, there's also the problem of the free select tool. You sometimes have to change the free select tool to give a new selection. Now I have chosen only the replace the current selection. And if I replace it, you can see the new selection is here, this thing. I will undo this again. We also have the possibility, however, to add to the current selection. This means if I want a part of the rubber duck to be selected, then I can just put it in here. And what happens is that everything which I've painted is now added to the selection now, like it is in the mentioned in the tool. You can also press Shift to do the same, and you also can use the fuzzy select tool for this. It has the same tools here. Add to the current selection, we subtract from the current selection, and so on. I will add to the current selection, hold the Shift key down and click on the yellow, and as you can see, there's now so much more selected, which when we delete it is now gone, and the rest is only here. I will undo this again, and I do both selections now, because we are using the fuzzy select tool now to select anything in this gray area. I hold the Shift key down, add this to the selection, add this to the selection, and I need to be a little bit more precise, or I increase the threshold and add anything gray here to the selection. I have to increase it, not decrease it. And as you can see, everything is now selected. However, this is only one part, because we still have this problem of this yellow border here. We can also again use the fuzzy select tool for this. The fuzzy select tool has also the possibility to reduce the selection or subtract the current selection in this case by pressing Ctrl. Let's try it. I press Ctrl, click on the yellow, and as you can see, now everything in the yellow is deselected, while everything in the gray area is selected. Let's try delete. And as you can see, the rubber duck has already lost their lower border. That's amazing. The next part we are going to do is copying this rubber duck in fact. But we need to select it at first, or we need to select nothing here. Now I have selected something with the current threshold. Press Ctrl C. And now let's insert this rubber duck in here. It's quite big, by the way, but we can see that the rubber duck is shown wrongly. As you can see, it has no eyes, it has no beak. What we need to do is actually select everything here. I will delete this layer now. But here in this case, we have to select everything. And we have the possibility to do so by again select all. If not, as you can see now, the borderline is now on the whole picture. And if we copy this now by Ctrl C, then we can insert it like this into the picture. But as you can see, it has the same problem like before. We can scale the rubber duck very simply. Because there is this tool called the Unified Transform tool. I'm pressing this and press on the duck with the mouse. And as you can see, it has all of these squares around, which means we can change it as much as we want. And if we move the mouse in there and move it while holding the left key down, left mouse button down, we can transform it as much as we want. You can experiment with this as much as you want. If you don't like it, you can always undo it. But for the moment, let's make it smaller. And now the rubber duck looks in the left. When you're done, just press the return key and we're as good as done. So the only thing I want to show you now is just mirroring this, in fact. Or what happens when we are mirroring anything in our little picture. I forgot one thing. At first we need to create the rubber ducky and make it to a new layer. So, okay, now it worked. And now the next thing we are going to do now is actually using image and layer and transform it. Image, transform. There's the possibility of flip horizontally, flip vertically, and rotate it as much as you want. You can rotate it. As you can see, the whole picture is now rotated by 90 degrees. I will undo this. But you also can, I flip the whole picture vertically. This looks interesting, but it's just for exemplifying this, the possibilities of this tool. But now we have the problem, we don't want to flip the whole image, we only want to flip our duck. This can be achieved by using the layer. Layer also has this transform tool, and if we press flip vertically, you can see that only the rubber duck is flipped and not the picture in itself. That's the difference between image and layer. An image is the whole picture and a layer is just one layer, as it said before. Now we want to make the rubber duck look to the right, therefore we have to flip it again, but this time not vertically, but horizontally. As you can see, flipping a duck is very easy. You also can technically do it by the transform tools, but I prefer to do it like this because it stays much more accurate this way. So, as you can see up here, there are already two other pictures next to the rubber duck and our beautiful ocean. These are the next pictures we are going to manipulate, starting with the boat. This boat now has a specific reason to be there. If we select, for instance, our boat, we only want the boat without anything of the right. Now we have selected the background again, press the right mouse button, select, invert, and now we can copy it simply. Usually we should insert it like this. However, as you can see, the boat still has these weird white holes in there. This is problematic, but technically we can solve this by using the fuzzy select tool. Hold the shift key down and select every single window. However, there is something special which is so amazing and so simply to do. In the fuzzy select tool, there is another tool called select by color. I press the right mouse button, then select by color, and as you can imagine, it has also this threshold. If I select the white background, you can see here that even the white windows are now selected. So again, we need to invert it by Control I, copy it by Control C, and then we add this picture by Control V. We have again the same problem here with the floating selection. We make it to a new layer, and now we only need to make it a little bit smaller here. So maybe it's a little bit too small. By the way, I zoom in and zoom out by holding Control and moving the mouse wheel up or down, depending if I need zoom in or zoom out. So let's make the boat big enough so a whole bear family has place in it. Great. So talking about the bear family, this will be the next part we are going to do. What we need to do again is select the whole bear family. Let's see it as a little bit of a training for doing this. We use the free select tool because when we use select by color, you can see that not only the selection of the color is there, but we also got this whole weird floor. And if we copy that, then it doesn't look too good. Let's try it like this maybe. Increase the selection or increase it even more. And as you can see, the selection tool just isn't capable of selecting it correctly. What we need to do is now use the free select tool, but watch that you only replace the current selection. Or you also can do it like this. Select nothing by pressing the right mouse button. Select none. So we press Shift, Control and A. And then nothing is selected. Control A selects again everything. Shift, copy and A selects absolutely nothing. And I can copy nothing in it. Now, what we need to do is just cut out the bear family and insert it then in the picture. And there is a big advantage about this, because the upper bear family is in fact surrounded by this white background. So what we need to do is at first surround the bear family with the free select tool. Then we need to select by, we don't need to select by color, but we need to fuzzy select. And now let's reduce the selection by this white border. And now we only have selected the bears. If we copy them now, we don't need to invert them now, because now the bears are in fact selected. I copied them by Control C. Then I'll insert them here by Control V. And as you can see, the bears are again too big. We can again use the Unified Transform tool to make them smaller. And now put them here on the boat. Make them look like the giant bear looks directly in the eyes of the rubber ducky. Looks spectacular, doesn't it? I didn't cut out the lower half, but this reason is quite simple, because we can use the layers now in any form of order. At first, again, we need to make this to a new layer. And as you can see, there is also the boat behind it. We just need to put the boat above the bear, and now it looks okay, but it lost kind of an oomph. I again changed the movement a little bit, looks okay, but as you can see, there's always the front of the ship here, and behind it is the bear. What we can do against this? We again use the free select tool, but now we only select the bear's head. We are done by double clicking. The bear is selected, and now what do you think happens when I copy this? Does it copy the whole ship or the whole picture, or just the only layer? Let's find it out. We'll copy this and then we paste it by Control V. And as you can see, there's again a new floating selection, which seems invisible. But if we get rid of the bear family, you can see that the bear's head is there. So the only thing we need to do now is just move the layer of the bear's head in front of the ship. And as you can see, the bear looks intensely at this rubber ducky. Just to be sure, you can also move the layer behind it, yeah. But I will undo this again so it looks accurate again. Layers are so capable of changing the picture as much as you want. And if you are proficient with using layers, you can do so many things in image manipulation. And as you can see, many things we have learned in layers already have been learned in the first chapter. It's something which happens most of the time, as image manipulation really requires so many tools at once to work correctly. As soon as you can do this, I can imagine that you make some of the most amazing pictures imaginably. I can't wait to see them, and I hope I'll see you soon in the next video. Yours sincerely, your Computer Bonzer.